Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another gorgeous episode of TGH. Today is June 8th. Hopefully you guys are having yourself a good day. And today we have a special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself one time for the culture.
Hey guys, it's C-Mad here, formerly of, Twitch.tv, C-Mad-It.
Okay, and before we get into this conversation, I believe you have done some type of military service, correct, at some point?
Marine Corps.
All right, first and foremost, man, thank you for your service, man. Definitely appreciate it. Anybody who is able to, you know, put their life on the line, leave their friends, families to go ahead and serve, nothing but the utmost respect, man. So thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you for the kind words, sir.
All right, so if you guys may or may not remember C-Mad, there was a video where I posted where him and Toke kind of went at it. And the reason why me and C-Mad were talking in the first place is that C-Mad dropped a big bombshell months ago, back when we found out that Shake and Bake was receiving points to promote Madden packs, and there was like a big uproar and all that. And then that's where I first found C-Mad in. Out of everybody who talks about Ultimate Team and Madden and stuff like that, he doesn't just talk about it. He has facts behind what he says, and he does his research. And let's just get right into it, because I'm excited for this conversation.
Let's go, man. Let's have some fun.
All right, so you had sent me a screenshot yesterday, and I had asked if I can tweet it out, and I'm gonna read it for what it says word for word. It's trading card companies will alter ads. So it says, 4 companies marketing baseball trading cards have agreed to end deceptive advertising that leads collectors, especially children, to think they could find special, air quotations, signature cards of top players. New York City's Department of Consumer Affairs said. The agency said Major League Marketing Inc. and Score Group Inc., The Upper Deck Co., Leaf Inc., and Flair Corp. signed stipulations that they would clearly, I'm sorry if I'm reading slow, these words are small, clearly and conspicuously disclose the rather remote odds in finding one of the cards. 58% of baseball cards collectors are 14 and under. Commissioner Mark Green said it is wrong to make kids think they have a reasonable chance of finding a winning or specific card when, in fact, the chances may be 1 in 50,000 packs. A 5th card marketeer, the Topps Company Inc., signed a similar stipulation last December. You had asked me, does this sound similar to Mutt? So where are the comparisons you're making with Mutt to that?
Well, the comparisons I'm making to it is this. Basically, that all went around what they would call chaser cards. So we're not talking about, your pro packs here. We're talking about your chaser cards, team of the week, your ultimate legend that gets released on Saturdays, so to speak. So what they're doing is they're putting these cards in packs, knowing that, let's face it, let me take a step back. If we look at the market for Ultimate Team, I think we could agree or come in a similar agreement that probably 70 to 80% of the market is minors. I could be a little high. You want to go a little less, we'll go a little high. So, EA knows that they're marketing children. And I would say that's well over the 50% percentile. So they're throwing these chaser cards in packs, giving you the hopes that you're going to pull those, team of the week specials, ultimate legends, this or that.
And so they're everywhere. As soon as you log in, they're right there on the main screen.
Correct.
They're at the loading screen. They show you this card everywhere. Now
Correct.
In packs.
And they're also doing it via social media, via Twitter, via Facebook, via all things. But nowhere in anything that they advertise does it say you do not have to pay money to get it.
Yeah, because I seen there was a debate going back and forth of you and another guy on Twitter where somebody was saying, well, the difference between that and Mutt is that you don't need to spend any type of money in order to play Ultimate Team.
No, it was you didn't have to spend any money in order to get that specific card that they're marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's not really the case. Can you pull? You need to spend money. You're spending money to pull that card. They're not advertising it because they want you to use coin. I mean, the data shows. Look, it's an $850 million a year market. Ultimate Team.
Jesus.
FIFA owns.
Is that combined?
That is the
FIFA?
Yes, that is the solid number out of their SEC filing for the year in March.
That's almost
it's an $850 million between FIFA, MUT, HUT. Well, we can't use LUT because LUT didn't have Madden Live, NBA Live last year. So $850 million.
And that's just microtransactions, correct?
Just Ultimate Team.
Sheesh.
That's it. Just Ultimate Team. Okay? So the data is there. You can go back year after year. The data is there that they know what they're doing in their marketing. They're marketing to get you to buy a pack. Nowhere in any official tweet from an official account, anything, does it say you do not have to spend money to participate. And that's kind of where that conversation was going. So the way I correlate it is, if you really break down MUT and you sit back and you look at it, it is no different than you going to the store and buying a pack of trading cards. It's the same thing. And then some people will say coins don't have value, right?
Yeah, well, I think that's in their terms of service. They don't have monetary value.
Well, EA lost that because when they took Anthony Clark to court for last, when did he get sentenced? In November. So when they took Anthony Clark, I think, right? I think yes, when they took Anthony Clark to court, their biggest thing is that he got money from coin. They acknowledged the secondary market. They acknowledged coin has value. Coin does have value. Just because EA says it doesn't, they can't close their eyes shut if there's a market exists and play dumb. They can't. They can't play dumb. There is a market for coin. Just because they say there isn't one doesn't mean there isn't one. So, and they've acknowledged through that court case that there is a market for coin, because if there wasn't, they wouldn't have got back. What did they take? His house? Took his houses, his cars.
Yeah, I think they
took
like a few $1 million off of
he bought $18 million he made.
Sheesh.
And it wasn't just him though. There was three other young adults too. I think one of them he was a minor and had just turned 18. I could be wrong. He was from New Jersey.
They made $18 million just selling coins.
Yes, and they were selling the coins to dealers in China and India. Yeah, I think it was China and India. So it was more of a European, that's where the money was going out, European League. MUT isn't a, worldwide game. So coin does have value. I don't care what anybody says, coin has value. There's a market for it. God, you got busted for it, right?
I did, yeah.
Right? Is there a market in the U.S. for coin? Yes, coin has value. There is a value there. If there was no value there, why would EA sue somebody?
And there's the big, there's urgency of coins because, like you said, there's so many cards that they put out that people have didn't take long to figure out that you putting your money into trying to get packs and stuff like that. Even if they don't tell you what your chances are, you're highly unlikely to pull these cards.
Correct, and that's my point. EA is a business. I get it. I've been a product manager for 30 years, so I know all about product. I know about all that. I work for $1 billion a year company myself. I get that part. The part that bothers me is that their main market are minors, and they're not subject to the same restrictions and laws as other companies. And I think that's partly because most adults don't understand, unless they're in the gaming industry, outside the gaming industry, understand what's going on. Most parents don't understand what their kids are doing. They don't understand how this stuff works. They know Johnny comes to them, Mom, it's my birthday. I want to get him. I want to buy a MUT bundle. She gives him $100. She doesn't understand how her child is being, taken advantage of.
Sucked in slowly.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm going with it. I'm all for EA making money, but I'm also always for, hey, you got to have some transparency here. You follow where I'm going? There's got to be some transparency. I think you brought up an analogy is one of your boys, he spent $1,000 to get, right? A card.
$1,000, and that's how much it took him to
Correct.
get a card, yeah.
Now, if on that butt screen it said your chances were 1 in 800,000, do you think he would have spent the $8,000?
Absolutely not.
There's my point. Because that was probably his odds.
Now, now obviously they don't disclose that, so I'm sure there's a legality around it.
I don't know.
What is that keeps that, like, do you think that is illegal for them to
I just think nobody's ever challenged it. Honestly, I really think nobody's ever challenged it. Have you ever? I've never seen. I've done research after research. EA, by the way, EA only has one lawsuit pending on them in their last release, and that's getting thrown out for likeness. I don't think anybody's ever challenged it.
Challenged it as far as not like, hitting Rex up on Twitter saying, "Hey, what are the odds?"
Correct.
I need to know. Challenge it as in like actually going to court and saying, like this
Correct.
is being taken advantage of. I have no idea what my odds are, but they're promoting it like it's easy. It's impacts now, but what are my chances?
Correct. Just going back to what you were talking about, the trading card.
Like even in a lotto ticket, if you turn it around, they tell you.
No, they don't. They don't, because if you turn a scratch off, it'll tell you the website to go to see the odds, but the card itself doesn't have it on it.
Well, yeah, there's information going to
Correct.
where. Yeah.
There is information. So that's kind of that's my whole stiff on it. It has nothing to do with I don't want to see them make money. No, it's not about that. It's about them being transparent. And I think people take it the wrong way when I say stuff like that, because that's not what it's about. It's about consumer protection. No different than when you go to the store, GS, and you go buy a washing machine, you go buy anything. It's got an Energy Star sticker on it. It tells you what it is. That's all I'm saying. Consumer protection. This is a $850 million a year business. This is not some small-time little business.
Yeah, I think you had made a point where it's like if you go to the store and you ask for, like an ice cream, you don't get back like random flavors hoping you get the one that you want.
Exactly. I don't get a random flavor. I get my choice. And then that's kind of why. That's where I went with that. That's kind of how I feel about that. I mean, I get it's a business.
Yeah, you made a point, which I still use this point because it was such an amazing point back when we talked last time, which was several months ago, where you had said like they pretty much created a financial gorilla here, financial juggernaut. They did like nobody expected this to take off as greatly as it did, right? And then it gets to a point where if you make $500 million from Madden 15, they go to the boardroom saying we need to improve that, right? They're not obviously trying to go down from there.
Of course, you got to take care of your shareholders.
Yeah, so they need to go on ahead and improve those numbers, and it just got to a point where it just got so far out of hand, and now they just need to improve on these $500 million that they're bringing in.
Correct, and I'll give you. You want an example?
Would love to hear it.
All right. One of the interviews that you've done a great job. You did a great job in your Rex interview, but one of the interviews that I really enjoyed, and I listened to it twice, was the interview you did with Mike. I really enjoyed that interview because of the context and the things you guys were getting into. One of the things you got into were esports, right? Why do you think they chose MUT as the esport?
Because they want to put it in front of the audience. They want to show all these cards and legends. I mean, I would like to think that, as somebody who doesn't know anything about it, they look like, I can play with Deion Sanders. I can use, Mark Brunell. I know he's not a game, but like that. That's my take on it. Okay, so now here's Andrew Wilson's take, and if those of you in the chat that don't know who Andrew Wilson is, he is the CEO of EA Sports, and this is his quote in the EA investor call in March, because I listen to every investor call. They used MUT because he thought, I'm going to paraphrase, that
They wanted to monetize on MUT the most they could, and they used esports as a way to monetize it, and they succeeded at that strategy. Had nothing to do with anything except monetizing MUT. And they succeeded in it. So when I hear people tell me, well, they didn't have to do the tournament to give... Oh, no. They had to do it because that's how they monetize MUT to grow more sales, to hit what me and you just talked about, to increase sales for the boardroom. So you really got to step back and...
Yeah, because in order to enter, like, oh, we're doing $1 million worth of tournaments, in order to participate, you need MUT cards. And in order to get these MUT cards, like, you see all the, like, majority of the pros where you see, like, Joel and Joke and Skimbo and all the stuff, like, those guys are some of the best players in the world, but they don't have these cards. They go around seeing what cards they can, like, borrow from people and stuff like that. Because they don't have them, you know.
No, because they don't grind.
Yeah, there's no competitive player that opens packs like that because they're too busy, you know, working on the game and stuff like that.
Correct, and that's another subject that I would love to attack. But so that's a business decision. You know, Rex, Clint, Jake Stein, you know, those guys that come out. You just got to remember, at the end of the day, they're representing EA Sports, and their job is to make the game look enlightening as the best it can to promote people to buy for sales. One question I would love to sit down, and I don't know, did you listen to the Gut Fox interview he did with Jake?
No.
One of the questions I would love to ask Jake Stein, when you do Team of the Week, every week, before you guys create that, are you given, this is what we made last year on this week's sales, and this is where we want to go this week, before you decide on those players? I want to know, how much does the financial
that's good.
Sales tolls put on top of you decide or make in the decisions of what you do as far as creating content?
You know, there was a week in Madden 25. That brings up an excellent point. And that's why, like, having these type of conversations with you, I look forward to, because you think of things as, you know, way more as a financial aspect more than, you know,
game aspect.
Yeah, lower, you know, pack outs and stuff like that. I remember Madden 25, they came out with or it might have been Madden 15, one of those Maddens. They came out with a Team of the Week, Calvin Johnson. And I don't know who the player was, but there was somebody who had, like, a career week. Like, an unbelievable week as a receiver. Like, far beyond what Calvin Johnson did. But Calvin Johnson comes out with a card because they know Calvin Johnson is going to be able to sell where the other player is just not. Like, if Steve Smith has a mediocre, like a somewhat good game, but Calvin Johnson, you know, like, who are they going to buy packs for more? You know, a Steve Smith
Correct.
Or a Calvin Johnson? It's obvious, Calvin Johnson. So when that comes out, it's like, you know, why would they? You know, like, Calvin Johnson was like the 12th best receiver this week. Like, why would he get the card?
Correct.
He's more marketable than the other guys. They know we want them. Like, they know what cards we want. Like,
sure,
when Dre Archer came out last year, they came out with a most feared Dre Archer because they know those are the cards we want.
Correct, but how much does that imbalance the game? Like, if you stuck like that Calvin, right, because you did it in Team of the Week, now how does that imbalance you from releasing him 2 months later with his better ratings? Do you follow what I'm saying? Like, how much does that imbalance the game? So if I didn't get, let's say next week I didn't get a 92 Antonio Brown because they decided, okay, let me give it to the better guy, right? Well, now the existing, let's say he was an 89 elite Antonio Brown. Now when he comes out, he might be a 93 or 94. Because he was a 92, now you don't get him forever. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I personally think it imbalances the game. So that's why you get your 2 overs, 1 over, that's a different story. That was a formula issue, not so much they were trying to make the game grow.
So you feel like there's a possibility to where they're going to make inputs to top, what they did financially the previous year? Yes.
Oh, definitely. Everything is done financially. I I'm willing to bet you every week whoever's running Mutt has got a sales report of what they did and what their goal is for each week. That is a guarantee because I don't care what industry you're in. If you are in the sales industry, you're getting a weekly sales goal. I don't care what you're talking about. I don't care if you're selling vacuum cleaners, you're selling toilet paper, you're getting a weekly sales goal.
And if that is the case, then yeah, that's obviously going to influence a lot. And maybe that's why they'll push out random J.J. Watts when he only played 3 games last year. But he still has 5 cards.
But he's marketable. It's like the person who, I don't know what age group you are, GS, but I go back, right? I go back to when music was created by somebody actually playing an instrument, not in a studio. So, right, it's the old adage is you really don't have to sing as long as you're marketable and I can auto-tune you, right?
Yep.
Same thing. So, that's kind of how I feel on that issue. I think they could do a way better job with Mutt than they do now as far as content. Just the way the game is stale. It's stale. It's the same thing year after year after year after year after year. It's the same thing.
Yeah, you had that day where you joined my Skype. We had talked. You had actually streamed that day, and I went back later on that day and checked out the live broadcast, and you made what I thought would be it would change a lot of things in the game. Is that you gave an example of you have a gold card and you can continue building up that card.
Yes.
And then that makes them sellable. So we both start off with an 82 overall gold card, but you're able to add kind of like create a player, how you can add attributes to that card.
Correct.
And then
that's
you can
how
turn that 82 overall gold card into a 89, and then you can sell him and things like that.
Correct. So my whole idea behind that was, okay, how do I add more value to my binder, right? The cards that I pull. How do I make my cards more valuable, and how do I diversify the auction house at the same time, right? Because we're all sick of, you get up on the auction house, there's 20 of the same card, the same ratings, or you're playing against a guy, yeah, he's got the same card as I do. So my whole thought process was, why can't we build our own players? Why can't, let's say at the beginning of the Mutt season, the best cornerback is a 91 Richard Sherman. So why shouldn't I be able to build on a gold Malcolm Butler? That's a good example, right? Malcolm Butler last year, right? Take a gold Malcolm Butler. Why can't I be able to, through sets, solos, whatever, I can get attributes, so I can get ratings, I can get man coverage, I can get zone coverage, I can get this, and then I can apply them to whatever card I want, but cap that off at that highest elite 92, right? Because you're at the beginning of the year, right? You don't want 90, you don't want to screw up team of the week and all that other crap, right?
Yeah, I mean, so technically I can, without having to spend a lot of time, I can just pull a Sherman, or buy him off the auction house, where you can take time and get a card and work him up the Sherman by doing solos and slowly adding, attributes. To equal him up, which is going to take a lot more time, but you're actually able to get, cards similar by working your way up there.
Correct. And at the same time, I can go through them on the auction house. My Ricky Williams is different than your Ricky Williams. And the other guy's Ricky Williams, and the other guy's Ricky Williams, and the other guy's Ricky Williams. So now when a consumer goes to the auction house to purchase, now he's got a choice, right?
Yeah,
between Ricky Williams.
My Ricky Williams with trucking. You did yours with agility. Another guy did his with. Yeah, okay. I
all right, so now maybe you're building a heavy scheme and you want to run, so you want the trucking Ricky Williams, right? Well, maybe I'm a thrower and I want the agility and the pass catching Ricky Williams. Or you follow what I'm saying? And that goes to linemen. It goes to every position. So now you can kind of build your team around the type of scheme you want to run. So that's kind of, and then I went as far as, okay, then at team of the week, now you can build, what's the next tier? The next tier is 95. So now I can build those cards, even if I still have him, now I can build them up to a 95 over. And you can do that through solos. And I'm not saying they got to be in every pack or everything, but there should be a way where they focus more on team building. But it will never happen because that monster that created won't allow it to happen.
Do you believe, because you had said, the article where basically they were suspiciously, or whatever the term was, hiding the odds and stuff like that. If they said, Sean Taylor now in packs, odds 2% or less of pulling him, that drastically changes income for them.
If I put 2%, not as much if I put 80,000 to 1. Because you can't define 2%. What's 2% of what? 2% of 2? 2% of 1?
Okay, so
2% of 100?
So they would have to put it in a way of... Okay, yeah, because in the article, it gave a specific number, 50,000. So they would have to say, 1 in 75,000 or something like that.
Yeah, because on 2%...
What does that do to the market?
To the market as far as EA's pocketbook market?
Yeah, as far as their income. What does that do if they now have to say, on packs, Sean Taylor now in packs, odds 1 in 80,000?
Oh, it'll probably hurt them substantially. Would you pull, let me ask you a question, would you pull for, well, take out what you do, take out your YouTube and take out all that. Would you pull it?
If I knew it was 1 in 80,000?
Yes.
No. At that point, I just see it as that's just a waste of money. Correct.
But if I asked the YouTuber GS, would you pull it?
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you. So we got to kind of separate the two, is my point. So if you separate that, yeah, they would substantially lose money.
So I see that's slowly coming like a thing where somebody sent us an article of like the game crates or something like that.
Yes,
and
they're doing that in China. Passed the law.
Yeah, I had actually saved that. Let me.
China actually went into effect May of. And you know what? That was a question I have. Do you have any followers in China?
Not that I know offhand. I mean, I might. There's people that watch me. They'll be like, they're from Germany, Australia, places like that. So I mean, I might.
Now, let me ask a question. Another question I really don't know. Is FIFA offered in China? I don't think Madden isn't, but is FIFA?
I mean, I would think because they have a. No, I mean, I don't know anything about soccer.
No. You know why I'm asking, GS, is because as of now, they would have to post odds. It would be interesting to see what the odds are on their packs. So, like, if you had a follower there that played FIFA and he could tell you this is what the odds are and then come back and do the math, because we can kind of do the math now.
So, like, if there's Ultimate Team in China legally because they passed the law, they have to disclose that odds for the players out there.
Correct.
Okay. I see why you're asking.
You see why I'm asking?
Yeah.
So, because now you can do the revert, you can re-engineer it. So, for all you that don't know, Ultimate Team, their margin, their gross margin is 85%. So what that means is if it cost them $1 to make a pack, they would sell it for $6.66. So what is a pro pack, GS, in dollars? $1.50?
Yep, $1.50.
So $1.50, right? So if I think $1.50, this is where people get lost.
Is that information anywhere? Were you seeing that? That's the.
That's in their filings. So it cost them.
Stuff the normal person just doesn't know. There's stuff
correct.
In their filings and stuff.
So it cost them about 20 cents to make a pro pack, and they're selling it for $1.50. So, and that's what I mean. If for every dollar, it's $6.66. So if you were to buy a, what is it? There's something like that costs
Ultimate Legend packs are 800 points. That's $8.
$8. So it cost them $1.20 to make that pack. Right? Yeah, $1.20. Cost them $1.20 to make that pack.
And that's how much
they're making off one pack. So that's $7 a pack they're making.
The article that he was referring to, it says Chinese law will force game makers to reveal loot box drop rates. And it goes to say a new law in China that's set to come in effect May 1st, 2017. So that means it's actually active now. Will compel game makers to reveal odds of items dropped from loot boxes instead of guessing at the likelihood of the game's best swag falling out of when a crate is opened, or relying on experiments like this one. Players will actually know the numbers up front. Online game publishers shall promptly publicly announce information about the name, property, content, quantity, and draw forge probability of all virtual items and services that can be forged on an official website or a dedicated draw probability web page of the game. The information on draw probability shall be true and effective. Online game publishers shall publicly announce the random draw results by customers on notability places of official websites or in-game, and keep records of government inquiry. The records must be kept for more than 90 days. When publishing the random draw results, some measures should be taken place to protect the privacy. And somebody did a test to see on one of these crates that they were doing, and it showed that they had like I think it was a 2%, 2.43% to pull a legendary item. And a legendary item, that's something that, you know, is going to be like an ultimate legend, right? That's obviously the best item you can possibly pull. And that right there is like a 2% of what they're pulling. And again, if they were upfront about that, you know, a lot less people would do that. Like, how many people in the chat right now would, you know, of you guys that do open packs, if it did say Sean Taylor, there's a 1 in 75,000 probability that you would open packs?
Well, probably none of them.
And that is something that CMad is saying that might not be legal for them to do, and he thinks that that's something that they haven't been challenged upon in court. So they, you know, may be like in a gray area where they may be forced to do it, but they're not going to unless it's challenged. Again, correct. I don't know the law. I don't know what the situation of that is, but you know, that would change a lot of things.
Every company's done that. You go back, look at the tobacco companies. You look at any company's going to skirt the line until somebody says something. They're a $5 billion a year company, so they settle out of court for $500 million, and they'll make that $500 million last over 20 years. It's not a big deal to them. But Harp, somebody in the chat made Harp said, keep in mind that is gross margin. There are other expenses beyond that. And you know what? I did a little digging into that. And what's funny, Harp, is if you go look, and Harp is an accountant, if you didn't know that, GS. Smart man. Great guy to talk to. Great guy to talk to, smart man. I went and looked at their filing. They say that their cost to produce games includes employees and everything it costs them to make that game or that product. Not their operating, like the cost of the building, the cost of the electricity, the cost of the servers. Those fall under a different expense. But the cost of their employees, the cost of the studio, i.e. manpower, their investment in, you know, like mocap, whatever, all that's included in that cost. So I get what you're saying, but a majority of those expenses are in that. So let's talk a little Madden 18.
What are your thoughts on it?
So far?
So far, the small amount of news that we've been able to hear.
It's like going to the strip club and looking at a stripper you can't touch. It's got so much promise, but until you dive in, you'll never know. That's the way I look at it.
So Madden 18 is like going to a strip club and looking at a stripper that you can't touch.
Yep.
Looks good from afar,
You got it.
So you're just thinking because of what happened, because every Madden is gonna be hyped up to be the best new Madden, right? Every Madden that
Correct.
comes out, and things like that. So are you feeling that way because of you've been like disappointed from past Maddens that they haven't lived up to the hype?
I wouldn't say they didn't live up to the hype out the gate. I would say by October, the hype that they showed us wasn't there. Like, let's take Madden 17, for example, right? The new coverages, the new zone concepts, all that. I was really hyped about that as a football fan, right? I loved it. When the game was released, I actually enjoyed the goddamn game. It was fluid. You could play your defense. You could make some little few adjustments. Guys were reacting. Guys were doing what they were doing. It was like great. And then all of a sudden, 3 weeks into the game, patch. Why? Because, and this goes into our new modes now, because they got such a complaint from, I don't want to use the word casual. I want to use the word the non-football understanding fan. And I don't blame this on Rex. I don't blame it on Clint. I think the suits made a decision to force them to make a change because they were scared of the pocketbook. And that change screwed the whole game up from get-go. Because then patches compound, because now you're making patches to fix the patch from the patch and so on and so forth. I think the game at release was perfect. Personally. Why, you didn't like it, JS? You got beat up by the stretch?
No, I was running stretch. So, I mean, it was tough to deal with because the blocking was really good.
Yeah, but if you call cover 4, it was done. I think that's an area EA could do a better job with, is educating. I think they could do a better job with their tutorials in Madden 18. They really need to sit down and start educating gamers, because you're never going to change the mindset and the way the people play the game if you don't educate them. Because the first thing they're going to do is they're going to go to YouTube and find the glitch play.
Do you feel, because like I talked to Rex and he's saying that there's obviously a very high priority to deliver really good gameplay and stuff like that. When it comes time to designing a new game for them, do you feel like things are just all mutt? We need to worry about, this is our cash cow, this is where we're going to go? Or do you feel like they're like really, really worried about creating a game that we enjoy?
That's a tough question, and I'll answer it this way, because I presented this question to Rex, and I got actually a pretty good answer out of it. And so let's go back and look at the history of Madden. During the development cycle, how has the game been created? It's always been created with regular head-to-head players, not PED, what I call PED players on the field. So I always noticed, and I always was a head-to-head player for a lot of years, that if I go play head-to-head, the game plays differently than it does in MUT. Well, why is that? Well, traditionally it was because they never paid attention to MUT. The game was developed with regular head-to-head players, and then all of a sudden you got these big, huge mismatches and made these glitches compounded and made them bigger than they really were because nobody picked them up. I think their development process and how they develop the cycle plays a big role in how we in MUT are going to accept the gameplay. So I pointed that question to Rex. This goes probably 6 months ago. And what he told me, and he answered me back, was that last year he spent a little time with the MUT team, because of the competitive mode. But this year he's spending more time, and they've changed the way they dev process so that they're deving more with MUT players than they are they have in the past. So when we look at gameplay and you're seeing EA play, let's say this week, right? We're all going to get EA play. Pay attention to what you're seeing. You're not seeing MUT players on the field. You're seeing regular head-to-head players. So think about that when you're looking at the game and when people are talking about the game and how good the game is. Because you're not getting a 98 matched up against an 84. And to compound that, Jake Stein, in a recent interview said the reason that we all got 1-overs last year wasn't because of that's the way they wanted the game to grow. It was because they screwed up their over formula. They use a different rating formula for over on players than regular head-to-head. So they got so deep and screwed up in the over formula at the beginning, they got stuck with it because they couldn't change the over formula, because if they did, the card in your binder would have been less rated than the one you got, and they would have been in trouble for that. So that's my take on that, GS.
You as a consumer, because you had said, back when we talked previously that, it's something that's it's a hobby for you. You'll spend some here and there. As a consumer into Ultimate Team, obviously knowing more than the average person, because you do your research and stuff like that. But how do you feel about the overall mode, the content this year, the pack odds, and all the stuff that the community's been griping about?
I don't like the mode this year. I love Madden 25. Madden 16 was okay. This year, I think there's too many solos. There's too much going on. Like, I don't even know if EA knows who they are. It's like they're all over the place. They want to be everything to everybody. They want to do this. They want to do that. There's so many modes in Madden, Ultimate Journey, Chemistry, this, that, the other thing. And I think it waters them down to do anything good. I personally don't like solos. I just don't feel that, like, for me personally, they're not challenging enough. Yeah, I can sit there, turn on Netflix, grind some, get my coin. Ooh, yes, great, I can get that card. But there's no challenge there. It's like watered down. I just give you something to do. And I just don't like it. I think they could do a better job with less. I think there's too much.
Dude, there's a lot of sets and collectibles and programs and...
Correct. What did they do? They just released a mover and you needed 100 cards to put in it?
100 elite.
100 cards.
Elite at that point.
100. 100 cards. First off, they don't give you a binder big enough. Let's go into this. If the binder allowed you to hold your cards to use for positionals and that night, yeah, 100 might be okay. But when you're limited in your binder, how the hell are you supposed to do that? Oh, that's right, you got to buy packs. The other thing I think about is this, like yourself. I don't play as much anymore like I do, but there's a lot. Like, how much time does the average person have to play Madden during the week? Even a kid. He goes to school.
In what sense you mean? You mean to try and just like get good players and grinding and stuff like
that? Yeah, just play the game, right? He goes to school. Kid gets out of school. He gets home or whatever. He does his homework, does his thing. So maybe he has dinner. So what's he on? Well, he's sneaking on as much as he can. So let's say he gets on at 5 o'clock. So let's say he's got 5 hours. You can't dedicate 5 hours of your time to it. It's like, I think the game's starting to move towards, it's too geared towards the person that plays 10 hours a day. The person that plays 10 hours a day gets all the advantages. The guy that plays 2 hours maybe one night, can't do it the next night, plays 2 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's...
Yeah, because when you're not spending money, you're going to have to spend... Like, there's I tell people there's only 3 ways you can like people are like, how do you get a good team like that, G? I was like, what the hell? There's only 3 ways. One, somebody just donates you cards. Somebody gives you cards, you don't gotta do nothing, here you go. That's one way. I've seen it done, but that's one way. The other way is you spend a lot of time. I'm talking about hundreds upon hundreds of hours. It takes a long time. And you have to be smart with your coins, you have to make investments, you have to know what you're doing, and you can gradually grow. The other one is that you can, not spend much time at all, but you have to spend a lot of money. It's either or.
Correct. And then, if you're that person that's only spending 2-3 hours a week, well, I wouldn't want 2, 3. Let's say you're spending 8 hours a week, and then you want to go play online, you're going to get killed, right? Head to head. You're going to get killed. So I really think the game mode has transformed into something that's only good for 5% of the entire community, personally.
But you say 5%, but then you say they're aimed more towards kids.
Correct.
So if it's aimed more towards kids, then that 5% obviously doesn't involve them. So where do you think they're like? I don't know, just.
Well, it's the old adage. Every business, you go talk to any business, you got 80% of your sales come from one place, 20% come from another. So if you take all those kids, and while they may only play 8 hours, and you take the amount of those kids, and you weigh what they spend, compared to the other 20% that are grinding, they're not spending as much money for the most part because they have coin to buy packs. So out of that other 20, maybe 5-3% of that 20 are actually spending money, like yourself, because whether it's for a YouTube channel or some bit, you know what I mean, like that. So that 80% that we're not thinking because they only play are probably spending more money than that other 20 in the big picture. That's how I would see it.
I didn't even realize this until I had a conversation with Dream Killers a few months ago. Is that they have a 10% auction tax on Madden, where FIFA and NHL they have 5%.
Correct.
What do you think? What is the ploy you think as a business behind the auction of the sales tax?
Amount of people that are playing.
But there's less people that play hockey, and they're at a smaller percentage.
But so isn't the license.
What do you mean?
The expense, the license. You think the license to get hockey is the same as the license to get football?
Oh, you mean the actual usage of like the
correct
likenesses
cost.
And all? Okay.
Cost. Yeah, cost.
So you think that factors in why we have a 10% tax?
Yeah, because in football you can get away with it. When people play football, I think they're kind of blind to a lot of things. We get. How do I want to put it? Let's look at it this way. GS, give me, what age group are you in?
I'm 30.
All right, so you're in your 30s. So this might work to you. So you remember pre-fantasy football, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. How many of your followers do you think remember pre-fantasy football?
Pre-fantasy football? I think on YouTube, I think it said, when I had looked back a while back, it shows like demographics and age groups and stuff like that. If you want to hope that the information they filled out, because somebody could just make a YouTube account and say they're 85 years old and they're really 12.
Correct. So you got a plus or minus.
Yeah, if that information is correct, majority of my audience was from like 12 to like 16.
That's right. So they don't understand. So they've been brought up in the age of fantasy football, FanDuel, DraftKings, this, that, fantasy.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing with MUT. They're living their fantasy. people that tend to be older that play MUT because they love the game of football aren't as fantasy indulge into the game, I think, as those from a marketing standpoint. So I think that has a lot to do with what drives MUT and why the underage. I think it's more about today's kid than it is about FIFA, because it's worldwide. There's so many demographics. I don't know. It's real hard for me to sit here and tell you about how the people in, Europe think about that game. But I think that has a lot to do with it, demographics.
That's great. We're just randomly. I'm just thinking of the conversation. That's crazy to think that you said like one of the upper suits in Madden just basically said the whole esport was built around Ultimate Team specifically to
monetize.
Yeah,
not one of the upper suit. The upper suit, Andrew Wilson, in the investor call, specifically said that the only reason he chose MUT as the competitive mode was to monetize MUT. That was the way he was going to try to grow revenue in MUT, and he said they've succeeded.
So so that would mean that they're doing better financially this year than they were previous years.
Correct. After spending all that money on MUT, right? Studio, TV. Think about it. You don't think the NFL Network paid them money?
The NFL Network paid them money to be on NFL Network?
They may or not, because it depends. Yes, because the NFL Network is separate from the NFL, so I don't know how that deal went. So the NFL Network isn't part of the NFL. It's a separate company within, so I don't know how that deal worked. Right? I think you and Mike were talking about YouTubers the other in that thing, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at it this way. Go back and look at EA's financials. Madden 12? Yeah. From Madden 12 till now.
Well, yeah, there was no big YouTubers then.
No, let's look.
In Madden
their
12.
financial budget dropped by like $5-6 million a year statistically over the years, because what they're doing now is they found another avenue for you. Like, let's take yourself. If I could put you on that, if you're on that screen, right, playing on Twitch, you're touching more actual people that will spend money than any TV commercial will bring back to me. Do you buy that argument?
I've never seen an Ultimate Team commercial in my life.
Or even a Madden commercial.
I mean, they have one with like Kevin Hart. They'll drop like their one, release, but outside, yeah, like I remember previously they had different like esports in the game. They'll have like different commercials, but yeah, I watch TV and I'll see it on YouTube, but not on actual TV.
Correct. They've changed their whole marketing approach because I don't have to pay you anything. I could juice your pack and you don't know it, but I don't have to pay you anything.
There's a whole big thing.
I know, the juice the packs. It exists. I don't care. You know what? There's one thing I'm going to say. I like Toke. I remember Toke, and I donated Toke before any of you all ever followed him. He was just a great guy. Watch him stream. Great guy. Great heart. I'll say that. But I will say, after that call, I think he defended himself too much, and that's all I'm going to say.
I've talked to, because I don't really watch, again, I say out front, I don't watch YouTube like that. I'm just more of a Twitch guy. I just prefer more of the interaction than watching video. But more people watch YouTube because it's more time consuming for them. They can just watch a 10-minute game instead of watching a 3-hour live stream. But somebody had told me, he's like, if you realize as far as like pack odds and stuff like that, those like they kind of slowly went away from Toke and went towards like the newer up and coming YouTuber, and they named I think it was KK's. Apparently he pulled like an ass load of like ultimate tickets and all this other stuff and things like that. So it's like they kind of just go from one YouTuber to like the next, stuff like that. I'm still waiting for it to be me one time. I would love the opportunity to just pull stuff like a madman. Yeah, it's tough to
No,
defend
but you have
when
100,000
see-
people. But your followers play MUT, right?
Yeah.
So why would I give anything to you?
Which is the whole thing with
Yeah, that's why I said that, because I know where you were going.
Yeah.
Like the other guy you were just talking about, is he new to MUT? Are his followers new to MUT? Are they playing MUT?
I couldn't tell. I heard of him this year, so I'm thinking he like exploded on the scene this year. Like I'm sure he was coming up, but this year's where he really like took off and hit. He's at like 300,000 subscribers or something like that.
Correct. You know when they'll use somebody like you and you won't know it? Honestly? Let's go back to little Johnny and his packs. That's when they'll use you. Because when there's an outcry, right? There's an outcry in the community because packs aren't good, odds aren't good, this ain't good, that isn't good. Then all of a sudden you'll find you're pulling better players. You might not even know it. And I'm not saying you know. I'm just saying you might never even know it. And all of a sudden you're getting these pulls. Right? Well, they give them that pulls because you got 2,000-3,000 people in your stream, or in a week, 3,000, and they see you pulling them, so it makes them feel, okay, things are getting better.
Yeah, which is why if you've ever seen KSI video, I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah, he did a video, talking about coin selling and things like that, and he was saying that your odds are like so terrible, like you should never really buy packs. And then he's like, but people's argument is like, but I seen my favorite FIFA YouTuber pull, like an amazing card, and he's like, why do you think that? That's just because that's what we want you to think. We want you to think that you can pull them, so then you can. And it's marketing. Like if I see somebody pull something amazing, then I'm gonna want to. Like I've stayed away from packs at times, and I see Raw Dog pull something, or I see on Twitter people pulling stuff, and I'm just like, damn, man, like maybe okay, let me pull. And then of course we all know what the end result is most of the time. But I will say that like 97% of my amazing pulls have been on stream.
Correct. That's where your audience is. That's the most bang for the buck.
Off stream, not so much. I mean, I'll get something every now and then, but yeah, not so much. When I do stream is when I seem to have better luck.
Correct. And like I said, you're unknowingly. That's unknowingly, right? That's like you don't know it's coming. It just happens. So pay attention when the community's bitching about pack odds, and then all of a sudden you're pulling shit. Pay attention to that. Think about that. Just keep that in the back of your mind and like pencil it down and go, you know what, let me just put this to a side, and and then if they're bitching again and it happens again, put it to the side and then think about it and go, you know what, god damn it, what the hell's going on here? I'm
about to start complaining tonight.
Let's go, complain.
We need some stuff.
That's at Oldenburg. That's at Oldenburg doing that shit.
So to go ahead and wrap up, I appreciate your time, man. We're closing in on close to an hour of a lot of, like I said, when you talk to CMad, man, he always comes prepared with, facts to back up his statements. He does a lot of. Are you, like you said, you listened to Mark, whatever his name was, the suit guy. That's like, are you? Do you have any stock in EA?
Yes.
How is that going? Is EA profitable? Is that a good stock to be in?
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Keep buying packs.
Wow. Yeah. So what is a share costing about right now? I don't know how this works, but I'm assuming you buy low. So I don't know how it works.
Today on the open market? I think it's like $100 and some bucks, but I think I haven't checked. I'm happy with what I have. So
per share.
Yeah, I think it's like if on the open market, I think it's 100 and some a share. But I want to talk a little bit about Madden 18, man.
Madden
Come
18
on, let's talk about gameplay. Let's talk about.
There's not that much information out there. We don't know much. We don't know much.
Well, ID the mic.
Unfortunately, well, yeah, that is hopeful. Like T-Raw had obviously they can't go into details too much,
Correct.
but he had said that he's having a difficult time, finding pressure, and that's game changing. Where like nickel blitz, instead of it being spammed, if you can slide to the right and ID the blitzer on the left, then that can change a lot.
Correct.
If
It can make a big difference in the game.
Yeah, and also they said that you will be penalized if you try to ID the mic and it's the wrong guy.
Correct, but the downfall of that, honestly, is the back end of the defense better be goddamn good. Because just like in the NFL, if you're going to be picking up blitzers in that, the back end better be able to hold up so a guy can block shit and get to the quarterback. Because if the back end doesn't hold up, offense is going to lay everybody up. So if you think from a football concept, the back end better be fixed. Because we will get annihilated if it isn't. Right? Typical football.
My thing is they have 3 modes. They have competitive,
Yep.
Arcade,
Yes.
and what was it? Competitive, arcade, and simulation.
Correct.
So I'm just wondering if there's going to be like when you go to simulation, is there going to be ball hawk? Because apparently there's no ball hawk, but that might just be like a competitive game mode type thing. I don't know. There's going to be different variations of the game, which I think will change a lot too.
I think simulation has more to do with penalties. I'm really thinking it has more to do with penalties. And that's pretty much it, because the gameplay should be pretty much the same.
So
if you think about it, why should the gameplay be any different?
Why what would be different between? Different? Yeah, well, because they want to do things like, I can see like, okay, in competitive mode, you don't see the last play of your opponent. Where maybe in arcade mode they would bring stuff like that, so like.
Yeah. But that's not really a change.
Well, that's not a gameplay mechanic or anything like that. But that still changes that I think they can do. That can just.
Yeah, you know what I want in Mutt?
What's that?
We're going to start a controversy with this one. I want a snap rating and a holder rating.
A snap rating?
And a holder rating.
So you telling me you're fine with losing a game on a PAT by somebody who can't hold the snap rate?
Nope, that's not what I'm saying. I want you in salary cap to have a choice. Pick a long snapper with a snap rating, or sub in somebody without one and roll the dice. I want you to have a holder that has a snap rating and choose on your salary cap, then have a guy that doesn't and roll the dice. That's what I want. That's NFL football, isn't it? Tony Romo, playoffs.
Yeah, I can.
But I'm giving you the choice. I'm not saying like you got to pick between 5 snap rating guys. No. You either take a snap rating guy or you don't, and you roll the dice.
Like, yeah, this year.
But I want it to affect salary cap. I don't like 99s. I don't like guys. Why is that different? But it's okay for a guy to tank his O-line to get 99s on the field.
Because I would rather see because they block really well.
That's a gameplay fuck up. But I would rather see you have a 99 Morse on the outside and have to have a 95 on the other outside and maybe a 93 in the slot, and let your actual scheme and your really football knowledge play a part of competitive mode. I think they should make your football knowledge be just as much part of competitive mode as the players you put on the field.
So, like, if you go on ahead and use guys, like, out of position, would that, like, hinder their performance?
Yes, it should. In competitive mode, yes. You want to go out there and play arcade? No.
Okay, but what if you want to put Clowney, who's a linebacker, albeit mainly a blitzing linebacker, let's say you want to put him at defensive
end? No, because that's a position he naturally plays.
But if you want to take, let's say, Brian Dawkins free safety and put him at cornerback, which a lot of people do because his zone rating is high and stuff like that, he should just play a lot worse.
Based on where he played in the NFL, there should be some type of degrade. Whether his stat drops 2 points, maybe it drops 2 points. Maybe his zone rating drops 2 points.
Yeah, that's a good point because now, like, you can put Clowney at D end or you can put, Dawkins at cornerback. His overall goes down, but the attributes are the exact same.
No. I don't. Yeah, that's the difference. I want his zone to drop.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
his
now,
drop.
I can put Randy Moss at tight end, and his overall will go down, but his speed is the same, his catching is the same, his blocking is the same, his agility is everything is the exact same.
Yeah, for the most part.
Whereas if you
if he's in a tight end and I'm bumping him, his strength ain't the same. He shouldn't get off the line.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would like to see that.
That's kind of what I'm saying. If you want to be in competitive mode, let's play some football. Let's get some actual football into the mode. That's kind of where I went with that. I don't want, I want to see a competitive game. I don't want to see you because you can make 3 hot routes and you got a 99 and he can, screw up the thing and go over the top. To me, that's not football. That's the biggest thing I hate about competitive mode. If you watch most people play, they're throwing the ball 15 or 20 yards or more, right?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
All right, go watch an NFL game. How many times does the quarterback throw the ball 15 or 20 yards more?
Well, their average are usually,
9, 8,
just
7, right?
Big plays here and there, but for the most part.
Correct. Because you know why? They're building their scheme, right? And their scheme, and then they're looking for that one move where they can get the guy over the top, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's off a play action or something they saw earlier in the game or something like that. That's what I want to see in competitive mode. If you're playing for that much money, that's how it should be. If you want to go online and play arcade, I'm okay with the way it is now. I'm just talking about competitive mode.
And they are putting they might even do more. I know they had $1 million this year. Might even be more going into next year. Who knows? Because they're.
Well, it depends how much money Microsoft wants to put up because they footed a lot of that bill last year.
So a lot of that was on Microsoft.
Yeah, Microsoft footed it all the other years too.
Oh yeah, that's why you see them promote on the field. You'll see Xbox slogans and Microsoft within the stadium, and we don't get that stuff on
Correct. Why do you think you saw everybody on the stage, all the announcers with Microsoft tablets in front of their faces this year? Right? Commentators, Gibbs, Farrells, all those commentators on the things. You all didn't notice they all had Microsoft throwing you at your face.
I mean, I wasn't paying attention to that stuff. But
yeah, exactly. So, but I would like to see that. Think about that, GS, right? A snap rating. I'm not saying you have to take it, but if you take it, if you don't take it, there's a chance you can.
Yeah, because in Madden 17 now, when you go to specialists, there's one LS for the long snapper, and you can put whoever it is, and they're going to snap exactly the same.
Bingo.
They've never snapped
exactly
in their life.
Yes.
So I mean, little changes like that would definitely shake things up. I don't know if I would like to go that intricate.
It affects salary cap though.
That's going deep.
Yeah, but I want it to affect salary cap. See, I'm not saying it to do it because I want the snap in it. I want it to affect your salary cap to make your choices different.
But there isn't an actual a left tackle that has some long snapper experience would cost more?
No, because you're going to take him as your left tackle. You're just going to move him in a long snap, right?
Yeah.
So why would he cost you anything more?
So why would that?
He might cost you more from the get-go to take him as your long snapper, your left tackle, but it gives you the ability to have a secure long snapper. So let's call it he's a secure long snapper. Right? Versus let's say you take a left tackle, Thomas, right? He doesn't do any long snapping. And he's 98. But there's a 95 Volmer, but he has that. He costs the same cap amount as the Thomas, or he costs 1 point more than the Thomas. I want you to think about taking that Volmer at 95 versus the Thomas at 97.
Well, yeah, I would go with the long snapper, so I don't have to worry about any botched punts.
Correct, but maybe the Volmer costs you 2 more points in salary cap. I'm not telling you to make it like 10 points more, but maybe it costs you 2 points more. Because 2 points. What?
What's your relationship with Rex and them, man? You gotta hit him up with these ideas.
Oh, you like that now, right?
I mean, I can see it.
But Rex has nothing to do with Mutt.
Well, he said that he's working more with them this year than
Yeah, but I think he's working more with them in the aspect of from a gameplay standpoint. But remember what I was talking about earlier, the process of developing the game and all this and that?
Yeah.
That aspect, I think he's working with them more. I don't think he's working with them more as far as AKA content. Yeah, he might sit in a room and go, hey, yeah, no, maybe I got an idea, and they might take that. But for the most part, I think he's working with them as far as gameplay. Because he said he made changes to his dev process this year.
All right, so to go on ahead and end off a just mind-blowing conversation, any final words for the audience?
No, thank you for having me. And, I am what they call the villain of the Madden community, but I just speak.
You do refer to yourself as that?
I just speak to how I feel, man. If you can't take how I feel, you know what? You can always block me.
Facts. Hope you guys enjoyed. It's your boy Jess. We're going to go on ahead and be signing out. Peace.